What's up, everybody? My name is Be Like Sammy, aka Brand. This is episode 109 of the Anime Dojo. I'm alongside Chris Stephen. Chris, how you doing?
Doing all right, buddy. You chilling tonight?
Doing well. Yeah, chilling. It's still getting really warm, but we're getting into the middle of June, so it's about to heat
It's
up.
hot.
Also,
Ain't no warm. It's hot,
hot, very. But also
bro.
the summer season.
You
The
said just
summer season.
because you brought it up. You know there are postmen out here passing out from heat stroke and whatnot.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
that hot.
But it's also the summer season is also heating up because we're getting into that in 2 weeks' time, early first part of July. So look forward to that. We'll pick our show, one show for next week on the podcast. We're probably stick with To Be Her X because it is going 24 episodes. It is kind of interesting, just a different thing. But tonight we're going to be talking about two things. One, Windbreaker got their live action announced, and two, we're talking about binge watching over watching weekly because I think it's a good conversation. We kind of had a conversation last week, and we kind of go in more in depth with the conversation. But also, we're gonna go through the charts for week 11 for Anime Corner, and go through the last two episodes of The Beginning After the End, which is episode 11 and 12. But let's start with this. So, Windbreaker announced that they're going to do a live action show. There's a little trailer out on Twitter. You can see the trailer. It's kind of interesting. And me and Chris are kind of having the thing of like, really, should we see this now? What's the purpose? So, Chris, I'm
It's
asking you
too
this.
soon.
Yeah, there you go. Do you think, you say it's too soon, but do you think it's only because the show is so hype?
Bro, okay, so as a person who's not reading the manga, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's more like is the possibility of this failing, not only the anime failing, but the live action too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I mean, it's not to say that it's not a great show, but
No.
it's like, you know, it was a zombie show that came out where Netflix did the anime and then did the live action right after, and the live action was not all that, was
Wait, wait,
completely
wait.
different almost.
Wait. Wasn't it Zom 100?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Zom 100 Zom 100 did the anime, but like right after the anime ended, like literally like halfway through the anime, we get the live action, like the announcement, and it premiered like 2 weeks later, and it was kind of like, wait, why?
See,
It was
and
confusing, but
you're
I
right.
continue. I didn't mean.
So, but no, you know what you said was right on the point. So that's the point that I'm making is like we're getting the live action when the anime is barely even popular yet. I mean, they just completed season two, and I
Yeah.
still need to go finish watching it just to make sure. Hey, was it good or are people just hyping this up? You know?
This kind of gives me cause. This kind of reminds me. So we're getting season 4 of Shield Hero, and
Mm-hmm.
Shield Hero is good. The first two seasons are okay. The first seasons are good. Season 3 was slow as all get out. Like season 3 was basically a lot of like exposition and kind of getting other characters, which is fine, but it didn't keep people's interest enough to make sure they were like, okay, this is something I'm gonna continue watching. Um, I don't know. It feels like this is too early, but the other issue about this is we got My Dress Up Darling a couple months ago. That's getting its a live action and adaptation sooner rather than later. But we're getting season 3 of My Dress Up Darling, which is very good. My Dress Up Darling is a very good show.
But do we know that Windbreaker is gonna get a season three yet? No, we don't.
No,
So,
no.
with that being said, when you look at shows like My Dress Up Darling, that show is a lot easier done as far as live action goes.
Correct.
Even though a martial arts show should be just as easy, but you talking about a test of more so people who are into fashion. So your fashion, this is that's gonna be a live action more show that's going to put more of the dressers, the cosplayers and stuff on notice.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike
Mm-hmm.
Windbreaker, where a lot of people might be trying to see what kind of fighting styles they're going to incorporate, or if they're going to completely retell the story, just like they did in Zone 100.
But yeah, but you know, like you say, it's about fighting. So it's about fighting their gangs within the school system and things, different school gangs and stuff. But the weird thing about it is, if you're gonna do it right, you need like the martial art. If you're gonna do like martial arts and stuff like that, you need those choreography people to kind of make it look good. At the same point, the other big issue you might have is portraying each group to make it look distinct. We've already seen 3 different groups in the show, and they're all distinct. And they all have their own personalities and the way they handle certain things. If and it's mainly because our main crew is so interesting. You need to make sure the main crew is interesting. You need to make sure that who they're fighting is interesting. How are you going to put that across and make sure one doesn't
But
overpower the other?
but see, this is the problem that I have with live actions coming out after the anime,
Mm-hmm.
because if the live action doesn't live up to the hype, it sucks, and I feel like it brings down the anime. However,
Mm,
I feel like if the live action were to come out and it was decently good, and then the anime comes out, I'm gonna be more likely to watch that anime because hey, I know that the live action was fire, so the anime has got to be on point. You know what I mean?
got to be fire. Yeah. Uh, See, this is where we got in the conversation a long time ago. I think it was episode like 40 or 45, somewhere in there, when the dress up darling. It was in the we got in the conversation a long time ago because there was teasers of like a couple of live actions at that time, and then we talked about really when the dress up darling live action came out, because that kind of really kicked off the conversation. Do you think that these shows are trying to get the live action too fast because they know they can keep the popularity up if they make the live action interesting, but also they want to keep the fandom up because they can at least people can watch live action until the anime is fully finished? And is successes like One Piece a reason why that's kind of the case right now?
Well, I think this is a cause and effect type of deal.
Okay.
Like everything you said is correct, but it's because of those things that's causing them to want to put the animes out because hey, while the show is popular, let's go ahead and try to make money off of a live action too.
Okay.
Like it's to me, it's just a different type of cash grab.
Yeah. 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 It's funny, ladies and gentlemen, we did talk about this before we started the podcast, but I kind of brought up this, and I think it's going to be interesting. If this was a solo leveling, if this was a Demon Slayer, if this was like, if this was even JJK, would this get kind of the same? Like everybody's like, huh? Kind of confusing? Probably not. But I would I want to see a JJ would I want to see a JJK live action right now? No. Even though the show is popular.
Yeah, see,
Uh
I'm agreeing with you there because I wouldn't want to see shows like Solo Leveling and Jujutsu Kaisen. It just seems like technology would probably limit between technology and budget is going to severely limit how they could do the show. And if
yes.
it's not done right, I'm gonna be so pissed as a fan.
That's the thing. And I think with Windbreaker, you can get away with the old couple camera tricks and things where you can be like, okay, um, uh, um, like you can do camera tricks and things that kind of make the fighting don't have to look perfect. But at the same time, if also the characters don't act like the anime counterparts, not fully act like them, but like feel like the actual anime counterparts, where they're more brash and uh, uh, and the interesting like way they talk and the way they handle themselves in the city. Can you recreate that city in live action to make it look cool? You could, absolutely. There's multiple ways you can do that. But it just feels like there's not a there's nobody clamoring for this right now. Nobody's clamoring for this. And if they are, we haven't heard from the rooftops.
That part.
I I think it's a wait and see for me. It's a wait and see. It's a wait and see if it's something's going to happen. Do I think we're getting another announcement of a big one very soon? Yes. I think we get an announcement of a Demon Slayer. I think we get an announcement of something else before the end of the year because, yeah, somebody's going to do it. Okay, I'm putting you on the spot. If you had to go into your crystal ball, put money on it, which one do you think we see next? What is the next? Which one do you see next? Demon Slayer, Soul Leveling, JJK, or even I'll throw Sakamoto Days in there because one of those three or one of those four is probably getting next. Or think, is there anything else you can think of?
Now, it would be easiest, like as far as when I say easy, I mean like probably with a decent budget and a better cast.
Yep.
Sakamoto Days would be the easiest. But for the life of me, just because this show probably has a budget to at least put it out there and see what happens, it would probably be Demon Slayer.
Okay.
Demon Slayer
What?
already has a giant fan cast. They're already putting this almost the same amount of budget into an anime that they probably would for a live action.
Okay.
So I mean, it's already kind of there for them to do that. And then the only extra animations would be the sword styles. And visually seeing how they would do that is just like probably the same that they would do Star Wars with the lightsabers.
Okay. You're gonna answer my other question. I'm glad that you did. The other question was you said it with JJK. I know you mentioned JJK. You mentioned it a little bit with Soul Leveling, how they do the whole power system thing. And you gave me the answer for the one for Demon Slayer. Lightsabers would be a good example of that, which is a good thing.
Mm.
That tells me that technology's already there. So ultimately, it wouldn't be hard.
Well,
And I
see,
think no. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say that we have to remember like the reason or part of the reason why the live action of Dragon Ball Z failed is one of the many reasons and why One Piece is slowly the live action is somewhat better is because they are basically they're doing the same thing as 2B Hero X is. How they switch between the 2D and 3D animation. That's really
Mm-hmm.
what the studios are doing. They've come to make those fight scenes more animated than people are willing to admit that's to the naked eye. See what
Okay.
I'm saying? Now, see,
Yeah.
when you try to put shows like Solo Leveling in that block, I don't see that the technology is there because how do you make two people look like they're having a fight at the speed of light? You know what I'm saying?
You can't.
Like
You
that's not really there yet as far as live action media goes.
you
And
can do.
even if it is there, it's probably insanely expensive.
Yeah. There's like camera tricks you can do. You can speed up the shutter speed of the lens. You can do things where you could make the frame rate instead of 24 frames per second, it could be faster. slower to make it look more dynamic. But even then, that's also trying to make it seem like it's moving it faster than it is. And if you don't do it right, it looks weird.
Exactly.
We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a weird one because I don't think there's anything. One thing they can do either way, back or forth, like they could do for this live action stuff. But also, I just kind of wish we don't do a lot of that live action. Do the ones that make sense. One Piece makes sense. The One Piece one was going to happen anyway. Netflix bought it. Then like just subtitling makes sense because it's not intensely hard to make. It's basically a comedy. It's basically like if you made a live comedy, but just with cosplay, like you said. Yeah, I don't know. Like I agree with you. Sakamoto is probably the easiest. Sakamoto is probably the easiest, but I think they want to do something bigger. And if Sakamoto ever got big enough, they would do it. I would actually the only one I thought back in my brain was MASH, because MASH could probably get done in live action. But MASH is also one of those ones where it's like that's Harry Potter, so you could technically do it with the Harry Potter style already built into it.
And you could, but you have to remember that Harry Potter is about to come out with their TV series that's about to mirror the movies.
Correct.
So,
let's go on to this other topic, but I want to mention this. I don't know if you saw this, Chris. I saw this. We're talking about Demon Slayer here a little bit. So there's a leak out there. It is a leak, not confirmed, not even proven yet. We don't know who the person who said this on. I saw this on Facebook. I saw this on Twitter as well. That the first Demon Slayer movie is 2.5 hours. First of all, what do you think about the time? How long that first movie is going to be? If that's correct, do you think it's too long or too short, or do you think it's too long? Do you think it's too long, or does it need to be shorter? And secondly, we know we're getting the full castle arc. If the castle arc is going to be about 2.5 hours per movie, that's a lot of fight scenes, a lot of talking.
So, bro, I was literally just getting off of this tangent. Like, see, if you have the budget for a 2.5 hour animated film, you definitely have the budget for a 1 hour episode of you. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
now. 2.5 hours is a bit long because that's only 30 minutes shy of King Kong, and that movie was 3 hours long, and that was a heckin' long movie.
That's even 30 minutes shy of the new Mission Impossible. So
it's like it is a bit long. Then it also brings the question like, are they showing like the end of the last episode in the season to add to that too?
that's what I thought, but there was no confirmation based on that.
Right. So 2 hours, 2.5 hours can seem long, but for me, it depends on the content and what you're showing in it. Because if you're giving me the last 30, 45 minutes, then I can kind of understand why that's long. Other than that, if it's just a straight episode or a straight movie of straight dialogue and fight scenes, bro, that for 2.5 hours, it better be wholly entertaining.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of think they're gonna do the thing where we see the last episode, so right before they fall into the castle, and then we go from the castle to the next thing. So technically, the movie will be like two hours.
Yeah. So I mean, the question I'm gonna ask you is, where do you draw the line? Like, and when I in that line, I'm asking, At what point is it too long, or what part of the show do you think is causing it to be that long? And is that part necessary or not?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think the biggest thing is that for whoever that first fight's going to be with, because I think all the fights get ample time. All the fights in the castle are get pretty good ample time. But also, I think we're going to bounce around. They're going to give us more character story stuff. They're going to add things from the manga that's not. They're going to add things that they're not aren't in the manga.
Exactly.
Uh,
So, with that being said, though, you have to ask yourself, what part of that content will see? I think like a director, what part would you stretch out? But as a fan, you'd be like, nah, that part don't really need to be stretched out.
I I think they're going to stretch out some of the explanations. I think we're going to stretch out some of the explanations, like who who messed with who, what happened between these two people. The one I'm looking forward to, it's not a spoiler because we've seen the dude already, and they got the Stone Hashira trailer. The kid
Mm,
that messes with the orphans. That's the former student classmate of Zenitsu.
yep.
I I
And
want
the
to
one
see.
that Zenitsu is pissed off for right now.
Correct. So I want to see that story played out. If you're going to extend that story, cool. I want the backstory for that because the backstory is actually fun. Um,
So then the question
feels
is,
like
how much of that can be fleshed out, and then at what point is it too much to be fleshed out?
I don't need everything from the backstory. I just need the basic stuff, like what happened to where they fall out, why the falling out, what was the big reason for the falling out, who was at fault, all that those kind of things. But also, why is Zenitsu want that revenge? Because he did respect his master, even though he couldn't learn lightning breathing. Um, I don't know. There's a bunch of things you could do. I don't think it's crazy, nonetheless. But I feel like they're gonna have to either flesh out certain stories like that, or are we gonna get something about the doctor girl and what's her name trying to make that antidote they did for stopping Muzan, which didn't really work or worked partially. Um, and like, is she still gonna be in the fighting, or is that just a side plot thing we're not gonna get to see? Things like that. I have I don't know what they're gonna do. I really feel like if it's 2.5 hours, you're gonna stretch out these fights, but the fights don't need to be stretched out any longer than they already are.
Okay, I agree with that.
Because I think the fights are the bigger things. Like the fights are the big things, but everything else is basic competition. But you're telling me each movie is gonna be 2 to 2.5 hours long. We know the last movie is gonna be long because the last movie is gonna wrap up everything. But the first two don't really need to be that long, depending on what they're really going to talk about ultimately.
I agree.
Um,
I agree. Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. Um, the the last thing we're going to kind of talk about, because we kind of touched on this. You can go back to the podcast about this last week, podcast 108, to hear more about it. But it was where me and Deon kind of went about binge watching over weekly watching, and kind of because they asked me about Chris and him asked me about, I was going through catching up on Fire Force, and I remember you asked me the question about, do you understand what it was like trying to get at? I was like, yeah, I do, but it's subtle. It's not like over the top and crazy. But I knew what they were getting into, and I think the thing is, we kind of were getting at, like, you. I felt bad because you sat there and just listened to me and Deon go. Um, we kind of talked about. I think you need a little bit of recap sometimes when their show hasn't been out for a while, and if you missed a lot of the plot important points. So, getting into that, do you think that binge watching is it good to work binge watch, or is the weekly stuff kind of the way you should go? When you like the weekly stuff, are you feeling like you have to kind of be be you're just gonna be in the dark about something?
So, mm, what's the best way to answer this question? So it should be understood, and I say this, that when you binge watch it, if you don't like it within the first 2 or 3 episodes, or heck, if you don't like it in the first 15 minutes, you don't have to spend your time watching the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike when it comes out season, episode by episode, each week by week, that's different because, well, shoot, you can invest your time in it and then end up not liking it,
Correct.
and then now you've wasted your time. Or
Correct.
you can be so in tune and ready for it that you literally can't wait for the next episode. So
Correct.
there's an anticipation that you get for it that causes an emotion. Now, however, when a show is all when a show is new and I can binge watch it, now that is something that I enjoy, because that means I can take my time and watch it whenever I want to without worrying about what people, well, I shouldn't say people, but without worrying about, you know, like what's going to happen next in the show. I can go ahead and watch it and just know what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's where I'm
Um,
at.
hey, Deon, hope you're doing well. I we're kind of talking about what we talked about last week between me and you. Kind of got in that little back and forth where we talked about binge watching over watching weekly, and I don't know if you heard Chris's response to that, but it's kind of interesting because it was based on asking about from what I thought about Fire Force, how I was liking it, and I just kind of said that it seemed like the story, if you haven't had time, like really, I'm watching season two, and it's been a while since I watched season one. I was kind of like, I kind of get where they're going, but it just doesn't feel like they gave me that hook. Um, so I'm gonna ask you this: What is
So
your huh?
no, go ahead, because I feel like this is a loaded question.
What, okay. What is your main reason for binge watching something instead of watching
My
week by
main
week?
reason for binge watching something.
Correct.
Let me. Well, there's two. There's two main reasons.
Okay.
One, I can watch the entirety of a good show or and rewatch it as many times as I want to
Okay.
without having to wait for another episode every week. You know, that's why I wait for shows to finish so I can binge watch them because I know that it's going to take another year before the next season comes out. So I want to keep this juice flowing before that new season or whatever comes out. One of the main, like, top tier reasons though, because there's many, but there's two main ones. That one and then this one is no matter how good or bad the show is, it doesn't take away my life from watching it. If it's a bad show, I can binge the whole season within the time span of watching a bad movie.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I won't feel like I wasted my life. If it's a good show, I can watch it within the time span of a whole movie. And then I can watch another episode of or another season of another good show because there's so many shows out. I'm not even able to watch every single thing that comes out when it comes out or as it comes out, but you want to keep up with the popular stuff, so it's hard to go back to the good stuff that's already come out because you got 60 new popular shows that you want to watch, plus 120 sleeper shows that you want to watch every single season. If they all came out whenever, like, finished whenever they originally dropped, I can finish those. I can get all of them done.
Yeah, yeah. I I don't agree with you. The thing that kind of boggles my mind with binging, and there's a few examples that are good examples. When I did it for uh when I did it for Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Devil May Cry binging that, cool, fine. I enjoyed that because that made sense. Watching that week by week would be kind of annoying because I think they retold that story. Um Sakamoto Days, watching it week by week, it was interesting and it actually kind of gave me a little bit of suspense. I'm gonna say with all respect to this show, and I know you'll both love this show to all get out.
Oh,
I personally think if you want to get people into Fire Force, I think you cannot binge. You cannot watch it week by week, just because I think if you don't understand the underlying what they're trying to do,
yep.
you're gonna be kind of lost. And like they do the imagery of like I knew that there was a couple nuns on the Fire Force there, so I knew the imagery was there. The thing is, it's one of those things where they usually throw in your face. They usually tell you right away, oh, this is what we're doing. And
You want to hear
it kind
something
of
wild, B?
Mhm.
I totally agree.
It
Wait,
has been a while
what?
for that. Yep. It's been a long time.
Wait,
That
hold on a
hasn't
second.
happened in a long time.
Repeat that one more time for me.
Hey, remember this was a recording. We got that on
I'm,
recording.
I'm gonna give it to you one more time just because this does not happen often. But I totally 100% agree.
Why?
Watching Fire Force is extremely hard to do if you do not binge it. One, first few episodes, you're going to be put off by fan service. I just had a conversation with somebody about this the other day. It's very off putting, but it's only within the first few episodes. The
Mm-hmm.
rest of the first season is holier than thou. I mean, outside of one or two characters, but that's a consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Two, the story. It's so captivating and complex that if you were to forget what happened the last week or 2 weeks ago,
Okay.
you may not be able to retain what is being displayed in this current week. Even from season to season, I always suggest people watch the last two episodes before, at least the last two episodes before a new season come out. That is very true for Fire Force,
And
just
I
so
have
you can
another
know what's
example.
going on.
I have another example too, and this is something I had to gripe on Deon about. Like I was almost ready to call Deon and cuss him out after I finished this show. But this
Bleach.
show, no.
Yo,
But
yo,
this is one show that you downplayed so bad. Well, you didn't downplay it. You said it was good, but you never really went into a tangent on how good it actually was. And for that, sir, I am taking away your anime card. Bro, you never downplay an episode that is actually a
are you
fire.
are you talking about Brotherhood?
No.
No. Oh my God, which one? Please disclose this
Ranga
information. We
Crimson.
talk about so many.
Oh yeah.
Ranga Crimson.
Wrong rhythm. Yeah.
And Brandon, this was a show that at first it was so much going on that I had to admit that the only way for me to watch the show was to binge it. And holy snacks, bro! When I binged it, I was like, "Oh shit, bro! That show goes hard than a Whoa!
Bro, I couldn't give out too much because it's a niche. It is a acquired
Nah,
taste.
nah. That ain't no acquired taste, bro. That was balls to the wall, like for
Yeah,
real.
it
But
goes like hard from
here's
episode
the
3 and on. Like there's nothing to look back to.
thing, and I'll agree with you both on this. There are certain shows that are acquired taste, but also I think the other issue with some of this, and Chris, you can attest to this. We're not finished, but there's 2 episodes left of it. Lazarus has already.
You're going on a
Like,
tangent, Brandon, but
And we
you're
can't
not
hear
coming.
you.
oh, sorry. I was gonna say Lazarus is the one I can think of because Lazarus has the characters and the storytelling, and it hits hard. But also, it's in that old '80s style, like of a Cowboy Bebop or something like that. But the
Well, let me put it to you
part
this
is
way: we've compared Lazarus to Dead Mouse Death Play.
correct.
I can't compare Ranga Crimson to anything because it was so much layered, in-depth story.
Yep.
Yeah. It's got emotion like Demon Slayer, action like Solo Leveling, story like reincarnated as a slime times 10. Like it's stacked on stacks. If they don't
And
continue this, bro, I'm fighting.
So my question to you, gentlemen, when we're having a really civil conversation about this, I appreciate it, but it's funny to me now. Back to Deon, something said a month ago, or a little bit longer, that we should just give all shows, just do their season out right, and then ultimately just have it all there so you can just watch it straight up. But the big issue with that is you will not have the conversation around it as much. So what's the balance?
Nah, that's not true because I'm sorry. Now I gotta disagree with you.
Okay, fair enough.
But
Fair enough.
you got to think about it. 90% of the animes were mangas first. Now people are getting more into reading manga, so the conversations are already being had.
True.
They're already out. It is already. You can go read in terms of manga for anime. You can go read light years ahead into the story before the anime even comes out.
Correct.
So I already know what's gonna happen. People already know what's gonna happen. Now, excuse certain things like Devil May Cry and all of this stuff who don't have one, but even those have a history of knowing what's going to happen. Give it to me.
like Brandon, that's why I said as a non-manga reader.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But see,
Yeah,
like,
as a manga reader and a webtoon reader and uh a novel reader, 90% of the stuff that you release, I already know. Like solo leveling. When solo leveling first came out, we already knew. Most people were running to start reading manga and manga because of solo leveling.
correct.
So that means that people are itching to get at the story that you're going to present to them.
Correct.
Release it. What is the difference of you releasing it now versus releasing it episode by episode? Get the work done first, then release it.
Actually, I'm sorry. I'm
Please.
gonna have to cut you off. I'm gonna have to cut you off because it's funny. Chris, me and you talked about this right before we started the podcast tonight. I hate to do this.
Called
I hate
it.
to do this. I
Called
hate to
it.
do this because it's funny. Chris asked me about this. So money.
Called it.
He looks at money and time. So it's funny.
What about the money?
So based on what Google said, he asked Google this question. He basically asked Google how much does a full, episode by episode cost for an anime to make? And Google couldn't really give him a full answer, but Google gave him an answer basically like a full season of 13 episodes will cost around $2 million.
US.
US dollars.
US. Okay.
Ultimately, if you look at that as a pricing point, and I remember I've heard people talk about Demon Slayer. I think the average episode of Demon Slayer is like $88,000 US.
Did we
So,
ask
like,
the right
No.
questions?
We asked the prompt on average, what is the amount per episode versus animators spent on a season versus an episode of anime?
Hmm.
And so the answer it gave was, it's on average, if we were averaging the regular cost, it's about 2 million per season, or
Hmm.
anywhere between 150 and 350,000 per episode.
Okay. The right question would be, how much does an anime studio make per year?
and see, that's the other thing. Those numbers you're not going to ever find because those are not publicly. That's the thing it did say. Google even mentioned those numbers aren't publicly out there
You know
because
why they're not? Because they're multi-billion-dollar companies. $2
correct.
million to recoup 20 million off of merchandising, franchising, all of this stuff is a drop in the bucket. Release the dang on season.
uh, and
Time, it's already taking you 6 years to release a season. Finish it. Release it.
but then here's the flip coin. Here's the flip side of that coin, Deon, and it's the other thing I brought up to Chris.
Wait. I'm sorry, because I'm gonna say something that's probably gonna cut into you.
Okay.
Have faith in your product. Because if you're releasing it episode by episode, hoping that people are going to review it and you can go back and make edits and change things, you didn't really have a product you had faith in the first place. Blue Lock.
And
Could I,
and while you
could I,
were on your tangent, I did ask Google that question.
Okay, go ahead.
yep.
All
Go ahead.
right. The revenue and profit of an anime studio can vary significantly depending on its size, reputation, and the types of projects it undertakes. It's important to distinguish between the overall anime industry's revenue and the income of individual studios. So here's what the breakdown suggests. The overall industry revenue. The Japanese anime industry generated a record 22 billion in 2023,
Whew.
and that was a 14% increase from 2022.
Jeez.
And that excludes any revenue made overseas.
So that's just in Japan.
That's just in Japan.
And
All right.
America is one of the biggest consumers of Japanese products.
Mm-hmm.
So come
Yeah.
on now, drop in the bucket
All
money.
right. Individual studio revenue slash profit. So a large, well-established studio with popular works can generate substantial profits. For example, a report from April 2025, this is super recent, indicated that the following net profits for some prominent studios. Are y'all ready for this?
Go ahead.
Studio Ghibli, 34.9 million US.
Okay,
In
that actually
April.
doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me.
In
Bandai,
April.
Bandai Namco, 24.6 million US. Production IG Studio, 2.51 million. Wit Studio, 1.9 million. Clover Studio, 1.4 million. Bruh.
And by
Come
the way,
In April.
Cloverworks works on um Windbreaker, by the way. So there's the answer to something else we asked earlier today.
And
I'm
this is
gonna
just from Japan. In April. So that's the first
okay.
quarter out of 4.
It- so what I was going to say, but
Hmm. And
y'all
they
do the
only
smart thing.
release one or two a year.
One or
Yeah,
two
yeah,
shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Like, okay. It's funny then because the other thing I was gonna bring up, and I
And
brought this up to
those
Chris.
weren't even big ones. I'm sorry.
Oh no, no,
Like
no, not at
Bandai and
all.
stuff, yeah, but we're not even talking Mappa. We're not talking, so let's really get into it.
Well, okay. But if you look at okay, good example. Look at Mappa. I brought up to Chris. Mappa had the whole issues with their company where people were working insane hours to try to get an episode of JJK so they can film the next episode after the fact.
They wouldn't be
Per
had they
week.
finished it last year and then released it all at once.
That where your argument actually gives some credence to. Actually, that's the funny part about that, because that's giving your argument credence and that's fair. But also, what are we doing then if you're telling me you could not do it week by week, get it all done, and then have it ready to go?
It's funny
Like,
you bring up Mappa, Brandon,
go ahead.
because even ChatGPT and Google Gemini cannot pull any type of figures for Mappa. The
Correct.
only figure that they have says that the median yearly salary for one animator is $245,000 a year.
And they crying.
US?
And they crying.
Yes.
And they're crying.
Wait. $245,000 US. How?
That's the medium. That means the middle of the row. That means not
Yes.
the highest paid.
Or the
And they're
lowest.
crying.
Or the lowest. Yeah.
Come on now, y'all can't tell. I said this when they first was talking about strikes, bro. Quit crying over pennies. If you don't love it, just say that.
But here's the thing. And I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm playing devil's advocate. People do love that. They do that job because they love being an animator. But also is a totally taxing thing to do. Counterpoint. Also, if that was the price here in America for what they probably have to do for certain shows and things, people wouldn't take it as fairly. So you would still see the same kind of strikes. You'd probably see the same kind of issues. And there'd be workarounds.
Are you serious?
I'm not going to stop.
Making $250,000 a year to do what you loved. What strike are you going on?
Fair. I'm not going to say that $250,000 to do animation is not great. Not great.
What? But and to work on a show that's one of the world's most popular shows in the world. To become one of the most household names in the world.
Let's put it to you this way. Last year, Mappa, or was it year before last, they had Jujutsu Kaisen, MASH, and Hell's Paradise come out in the same year.
All at once. They're working on all three in the same year.
And that was the year that they first started hearing about people going on strike because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if this is a median salary and they going on strike, to me that tells me that there is a discrepancy between how much these median people are getting paid versus how much the people on the bottom are getting paid versus the work that's getting done.
And that's fine. But medium is middle of the road. That means even if you're making $100,000 a year, bro, $60,000 a year, bro, $50,000 a year, you're still making more than the average American.
And the thing is, I'll put it to you this way. The only other reason we probably can't do a lot of binging,
and your bill's cheaper in Japan, man, holler at me, bro.
I guess it is. Only reason we can't do binging like they probably we want. If the other big issue is commercial rights, all that kind of stuff over there. Same with the US.
YouTube does it.
Yeah, they do. But see,
y'all favorite thing, Netflix does it.
Yep, that is also true. And I can't disagree with you. I can't. But I think that's gonna be the thing. I do think there will be a day that will happen. There will be a day where most animes will be bingeable, where they're coming out all at once.
I'm sorry, y'all know I hate Netflix. So if they can do it, everybody can do it.
Everybody can do it. What are you paying the premium? Or is Netflix paying a premium to do it? Is the only question I would have. If they are, cool.
So they say, which is why they say they have to raise their prices.
But
come on,
know that.
They're also paying, both spouses to have maternity leave for 6 months off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean,
Fair. Fair enough. Fair enough.
what we doing, man?
Okay, we
They
not
playing
gonna
chess.
get
We talking about
into.
checkers.
And then
No,
we
no, no, no,
can't
right,
get
no.
into this because this is a whole different cultural
Correct.
conversation,
Fair.
especially as we about to get into our trip to Japan to witness these things firsthand. So,
Yeah.
but until then, we have to understand that because there is such a discrepancy between the way the American people live and between the way the peoples live, the way the government acts. Because I mean, apparently they ain't got no foods in their government, but that's a whole nother story. But the thing is that the fact that the people in Japan they definitely seem to be happier. However, it's a lot of them over there that wish they had work from home jobs right now. So I can't really complain.
I will say this: there
It's a
will
lot of
be a day.
us to do.
There will be a day where I think both worlds exist, but I also think there will be a day where I think your seasonal model goes away completely, so we don't see summer, fall, or spring anymore, or winter. But also, I think that coincides with us having more binge of all the seasons out, a season out at once, or we just have, or you have the weekly model depending on the show.
Is that a
But
bad
that
thing if that goes away?
the seasonal
If
model,
our seasonal model goes away, but we get to binge, is that a bad thing?
no. I think this. I ultimately think the season model should go away, but that's another topic for another day because I think the season model is making the same problem of what like spring has been kind of lackluster. The spring has been kind of lackluster, but the summer is about to pop off. And speaking of the spring, we're gonna roll right into this. Let's get into the charts for week 11 before we get to the last two episodes of the beginning after the end, because I think this will tell you all you need to know about this spring. I'll start off with this. Black Butler is at number one. Let me look at there we go. Black Butler's at number one, went up 2 spots. The Apothecary Diaries, season 2, stayed at 2. To Be Hero X went up a spot to 3. The Summer Family Children went down 3 spots. Witch Watch stayed at 5. Fire Force stayed at 6. My Hero Academia Village stayed at 7. Cinderella Gray went up 2 spots. Windbreaker dropped a spot to 9. And Kalu General Romance went up 1 spot to 10. Chris, what do you think about these charts?
So not surprising to see Black Butler at the top. I still think Apothecary Diary should be one. To Be Hero X, we know why that's getting hyped. That's actually starting to get kind of crunk right now. Shinjuki Family Children, I think, is now in the number 1 spot for, I think it's a fan service. I kind of stopped watching it. Witch Watch is good. Fire Force is on fire. I haven't watched Vigilante, so I don't really care. I care even less about Cinderella Gray. Windbreaker. Bro, the only now this is what should be higher, but I'm pretty sure that therapy is going over people's heads, not knowing that it's really talking to them about them. But yeah, so yeah.
Mm.
And Calhoun Generic Romance is one of those things I think I'm gonna have to binge.
I like it. It's actually really good. Really good. Deon, what do you think about this chart?
Honestly, this is one season that has had so many different changes in it. This chart doesn't surprise me, and I guarantee you it's going to be 100% different next week.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I want to ask though to you guys is more towards you because I think you're caught up. Brandon, I don't know if you're caught up. Windbreaker. Do you think people aren't giving it the praise it deserves because of what they're doing right now,
Absolutely,
character wise? I don't want to speak too much, but if you're caught up to
absolutely.
this point, you know.
But
Okay, I'm
but
thinking people are
but
just being biased and hating because it's really good and it's just as good as it was the first season, if
If
not
not
but
better.
better.
But here's the thing, and I agree with everything y'all just said, gentlemen. Perfect. I agree with it. I'm also caught up. The funny part is, and I'm sorry, Chris, my third cousin on the bus for a second. I love your cousin. I do. But it's the same issue of you want to see good action. This last season has been a lot of storytelling, which I love. I love a lot of storytelling. I love the emotional side.
I'm about to go on a tangent.
I love the hard hitting stuff. But
just like last season, there's no real dip. Like I've been
no,
hearing
there's not.
Say that, but it's just as much action as it was last season.
Correct.
Just as much. It's just somebody different is doing the action, and I feel like they're being biased towards it.
Yeah.
All right, I can't hold this in no more. Okay, I put a Instagram video in the chat, and I hope you guys had a chance to look at it. But the idea was based around they were saying that so many people have gotten into anime within recent years that they believe that there has begun to be a cognitive decline amongst the people watching it. They're like the people are looking forward to the stories. I mean, to all the fights and the actions, and neglecting the actual in-depth stories of the characters, and it's causing now does this not sound like the conversation that y'all are having right now? Because oh my goodness.
So basically, our human attention span is not lasting as long. That's what you're telling me. And yes, it is the same thing.
See, I would agree with that if Fear Beyond Journey In was at #1 when it first came out. If Witch Watch isn't high in the charts right now. If Calhoun's Romance is not doing in the top 10 right now.
Yeah.
If Apothecary Diaries wasn't deserving of a reward every time it goes up to get nominated, like I would agree with that. But we're still looking. I just feel like we're not watching the same shows when we're watching them.
And I'll throw one more out there before Chris does the other chart. If that was the case, To Be Hero X wouldn't be in the top 3. Let alone the top 5. Because that's mostly all story. That's mostly all story.
The most recent episodes.
Yeah. Which is even the funny part. Most recent episodes, there's more story than fight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we're just watching for action, To Be Hero X would be trash right now.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Chris, go into the other chart for me, please. I want to see what they said for this, because I'm interested now.
All right, well, starting at the top, we have #1 with Apothecary Diaries, #2 Mobile Suit Gundam, 3 Witch Watch, 4 Apocalypse Hotel, 5 Vigilantes, 6 How to Become Ordinary, 7 Rock is a Lady's Modesty, 8 Generic Romance, 9 Ninja and Assassin Under One Roof, and 10 Cinderella Grey.
I have no words. The only thing I will say,
these charts are always so daggone different.
The only thing I will say, I think Rock's Ladies Modesty should get more praise. Because my word, some of the storytelling you've done in that show with music and just like talking and body language is amazing. That's just one of those ones of like,
yeah,
like that's insane to me. But also the fact that Kowloon is 8. You have Old Country Bunchman is 12. Fire Force is 11. Like
Windbreaker is 13.
Correct. So that tells me, if that's the case, people aren't getting to watch these shows and can't actually focus on what they're talking about and just want to see mindless action. That's crazy. But also, you can tell they're making shows that have more deep stories in them to make them interesting, to make you think. I have never thought so much of something like Lazarus in my life. And I probably will never will. Like, that's just crazy to me. This is, I don't know. This is crazy. This is weird and awesome, but it's also kind of like, what are we doing? But we'll see how the last chart goes. The last chart is going to be the one that really kind of does, I think, something different.
As we get into the next seasons and everything, or end of this one, yeah, boy.
Yeah, that last part's going to be like, okay, here's what they wanted to do. But I don't know. It based on the we're having, like you said, we're having the conversation from the Instagram thing you sent us, but like there's no real rhyme or reason. They can't explain it. Nobody else can explain it.
Look, even so, the Shinjuki family children is what on the other list?
It is. Where's that?
Number 4, 3, something right there.
4.
And on this list, it's number 29.
Yeah, there's your indication right there.
Some more validity into what Deon is saying a little bit.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm only saying that since he had to jump off for a quick second.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the weird thing. That's going to be the thing of like, what's next? What's going to keep the people going? So we'll see. But let's get into these last 2 episodes of the beginning after the end, episode 11 and 12. And I think these episodes are going to really give you what's going on with this story. Hopefully, we'll kind of see from watching. This is the end of the season, so we'll see if it actually held up to what it said it was going to do. But we'll see. I have really nothing to think about because like this is going after we found out the king didn't want to go to the magic school. He's at the magic school now. He's there. What is that whole situation? But also what's next from after the magic school? If he's going to stay there longer, we don't know. But at the same time, how much of that's going to change over the time period? So in a second, I will say 3, 2, 1, and then we'll get going. Chris, you ready?
Just about, bro. I'm trying to find it real quick.
No worries.
Man, though, it's overall this season has been decently done. I haven't kept up with it as everything as much as I wanted to, but I still had to give props where it's due. I mean, like there have been some shows that come out this season that didn't pick up to the end, whereas there are other shows that just like I thought were going to be good, and it wound up being just as lame as any other show. But at the end of the day, I mean, I guess every season is somewhat the same to the others, you know. But thank you for holding on to your tangent. I am
No worries.
up and ready with episode 11.
Okay. Hey, Deon, get up. Episode 11 of
Beginning after the end.
After the end.
The King's Decision.
You can hear us. I think just cutting it out still. All right, we'll start it and we'll go from there. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh yeah, he's fighting the teacher, right? I forgot about that. We didn't see it last time.
Yeah, they gotta gauge how strong he is to be, and what for his class placements and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me wonder how would Harry Potter do as an anime.
It actually pretty well.
Where we at, fellas?
So we're at 113 in episode 11.
Do we need to pause real quick and wait
Yeah, I just
so you can
paused.
catch? Okay.
I just paused.
Brandon, if you paused and press skip intro, it'll put us at 221.
Okay. Okay, we'll go 221 then. Yeah, do that.
The countdown will be on you, buddy. Whenever you're ready.
Should be Hero episode 10, right?
No,
No,
the beginning after the end.
Yeah,
episode
the
11.
beginning after episode 11.
11.
Yeah.
And you said you were 211.
221.
Yeah.
Oh, you just got the intro. Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
On you, buddy.
3, 2, 1, play.
So he's about to fight the teacher to see how strong he is. The teacher we saw last time.
Mm.
Oh, she a beast.
For real.
And it's showing that he ain't did nothing yet. Like as advanced as he is, there's people out in this world that's just smashing him.
You might over.
He said the exact same thing.
now she finna go on the offensive.
The element of sound. By the way, we didn't get her name. We don't know who she is. We just see her pop up.
She's the
We find
headmaster
her.
of the school, and she's a beast. That's all we need to know right now.
Okay.
Talking man, where are interviews like? Man, I wouldn't know how to have, bro. If an interview happen like that, I wouldn't know how to respond to something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, could you imagine binging this versus having to wait every week for this mediocre show?
If I could
Don't
have,
make me say it. Don't make me say it.
if I could have binged this, I would actually been a lot better off. Because I think sometimes the story doesn't get it gets underwriting.
Because
Mhm.
this would have been a show I would have said, yeah, it's good, and just kept it on in the background as I work.
Fall asleep to it, do some work while doing whatever.
Yeah, you could have it on. Like
It's
I
good
agree
enough
too.
for that. It's not good enough for 100% attention. I would even say English dub on first day as well.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep my comments to myself then.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
And the English dub doesn't even have to be good. It can be trash.
So is he? So is he deciding to go on a journey? Is that what we're getting?
Wants
No,
to
he's
become an
telling them he
adventurer
wants to adventure. Yeah.
from wherever that
That's what I
leads
mean.
him.
He wants to be an adventurer and go. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
We're basically following the story of,
Slime.
dare I say it? No, not slime. Jobless.
Oh yeah,
Yes, we are.
yeah. We're following Jobless story now.
Called it.
Yeah.
At least his dad didn't cheat.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a thing we haven't got. Technically gotten.
The young girl, the one that we think likes him anyway.
Yeah.
確かに。うん。確かに。あんた特別だから。あんた、こういうことしたんじゃない。そんなことしないよ。
I'm actually kind of happy we're getting more time with these characters. We've only seen them like 3 times in the whole series, maybe 4.
But it
So I'm glad.
shows that they actually have some actual core value to the show.
Correct.
あーさんの成長を見守ることは俺たちにとっても楽しみなんだから。ダーリンの言う通りよ。そうよ。立候補する。
You know it.
ヤスミ
Wait, her?
アダム以上に嫌いなハグ
Yeah, she's the only one that really showed interest in him. Like everyone else loves him like a baby cousin or something, little brother type deal.
But they're also closer to age. Closer in age.
Age, right? Yeah, they're a lot closer in age.
よろしく頼むね。
She look forward to it too, bro.
Mhm.
Yeah, he kind of likes him. Oh man.
リリアが私が7を吹き込む瞑想できるよ。
Oh, they're tying this back in. Okay. All right. All right. Fair.
7歳か8歳で目覚めるはずだ。ただし、忍耐力があればの話。じゃあ一緒にやる？今日はいい。もっと早く目覚めなきゃいい。注目されたら心配だ。父さん、オークションハウスにちょっと行っていい？剣を選びたいんだ。ああ、もちろん。そうか。冒険者ギルドの入団試験に使う剣か。
Yeah, here's where it starts to feel more like a Berserker Gluttony.
Wait, why does he need a sword?
That's his weapon of choice.
Oh, okay.
So he has to take the adventurer's exam. They're not just gonna let him be an adventurer. He's got to take the exam, and then he's got to actually use it in his adventures.
Why does that stew look so good?
It actually does look pretty delicious.
これだけいろんな種類の剣があるのに、欲しいものが一つもないなんて。こっちが、これも。
この世界では兵士のほとんどがオーグなんだ。
So many different styles too.
でかい片手剣のばかり。この小さな体で使えるようになって。なかなか難しい。
シルビー、何か見つけたの？
Katana tucked away.
僕が探してるのはそれじゃないの？
Staff.
分かったよ。おお。
棒にしては重心が偏りすぎ。これじゃまるで
Yeah, it's a staff.
エレメントを使う必要がある。
No, it is a katana. Wait, what?
まさに試してみる価値はあるか。
Whoa.
リエナ。
Wait, did they do the whole thing where he imbued his weapon with the beast form?
なんという美しい武器だ。とても武器とは思えないほどの美しさ。まだまだ使いこなすには重すぎる。だが。
すみません、ヘルスティアさん。
Oh yeah, it's just cut through that barrel.
夜明けのバラ、ダブルケース。いいのではないか。
大丈夫だ。なんでもない。
バランスが変わった。
It imbued to him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, whoa. It was something out of like a movie.
It's like I said, straight out of Berserker Gluttony.
Yeah, it's actually gluttony. I agree with that one.
そうだ。かつてこんな話を聞いたこと。匠の職人が一人の持ち主だけと一体化する杖を作った。だがそれは持ち主がマナーを調節する。剣が自ら持ち主に合わせることができる。聞いたことない。WK4。一体誰なんだ。
Gave us another mission.
Mhm.
This bro just steady picking up side quests.
Mm-hmm.
これにします。
気に入るものが見つかったんだ。
他の剣と比べておしゃれじゃないけど、何度か振ったら木になったんだ。
重心が少しずれてる。職人が軽くしたんだろう。けど、アーサーが使うにはちょうどいいな。どうだ、ヴィンセント。アーサーが気に入ったのならいいと思うよ。
ありがとうございます。
ん？腰に刺してるその棒はなんだ？おやおや？
冷静に振る舞わなくちゃ。
She's trying to steal it.
手にしてみたら、かなり頑丈でそれなりに重いから。
Nah, I feel like he did something you might do, Deon.
そんなのは？
Downplaying it.
記録を調べてくれ。
Heck yeah.
それなら覚えてます。ボケたじいさんがいきなりふさわしいものがおらんって投げつけてきたかと思ったら、さっさと言ってしまって、一応何人かの鑑定士に見せたら、皆同じようにただの頑丈で硬い杖だろうって。捨てるのには忍びないので、ここに保管していたんです。そうか。もう少しランクが上の鑑定士に依頼してみますか。
もし貴重なものならごめんなさい。 これも気に入って買えばいいなって思って。
But it's not valuable, is it?
Not that they know of.
Right.
And why do you use the old puppy eyes for that? That didn't make sense there. But
And
okay.
Uncle Vincent.
Yeah,
Yep.
that whole mission. That doesn't make sense.
See, he called me uncle.
それからしばらく、私はアリス、レイ、そしてエルステア家の人々と共に幸せなひとときを過ごした。もちろんその間、冒険者になるための準備を着々と進んでいった。私がこの世界に来て、9年の年月が流れた。
9 years.
Wait.
We finally got an accurate age.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be 10 at this point.
No, he's
Nope.
turning 9
Oh,
right
he
now.
turned. Okay, the way that sentence sounded, he was already 9, and they were going to his birthday, which would be 10. He'd be turning 10. That's why I asked that question.
No. Oh yeah, nah. He said it's been 9 years, so they're celebrating the 9th year now.
Why does that food look so good? Okay, that cake looks amazing.
The cakes always look so good.
Oh yeah, because you can make cake look really good in animated anime or just animation in general. Okay, new gauntlets.
And the enchanted with healing magic.
I was like new healing gauntlets.
Mm-hmm.
Ring. Don't tease the boy. Okay, he thought those were marriage
I would
rings.
have looked at him crazy too. Like, nigga, what?
I love how the mom they called out for that.
これは俺たちからだ。そいつは音を送れる巻物でな。ぶっちゃけ、目玉が飛び出る。アーサーが巻物にマナを吹き込んで。
I'm about to say, don't do that.
それを受け取ったアリスが一度だけ変身できるんだぜ。すげえな。
ありがとう。みんな、素敵なプレゼント本当にありがとう。明日いよいよここを立つけど。
They really not presents for you, bruh. They sound like they're more presents for your mama, so that she don't worry about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the scroll for a message, so in case he doesn't get hurt. The healing gauntlets, just in case so he can stay, so his healing can be healthy. And then the
rings that let you know if
your power consumption is too high.
Get hurt, yeah.
But the other ring was given to the girl though.
No, it was given to his mama.
I thought it gave it to the girl.
His mama. Nah.
No, it's funny because he did look like he handed it to the daughter. I do agree with Chris there, but I think it was handed to the mom. I think that's what their point was.
When they were side by side, it was him and his mama.
Mom
holding the ring. Shit.
What's the mask from?
I was just thinking that too. Where did this mask come from?
No, he had picked it up from the market in the last episode.
Oh yes, that's right. He did pick it up from the market. It's funny because that's not really a thing we've gotten confirmation of. Like we knew that was a thing, but he's just gonna take it with him.
Yeah, we don't know exactly what it does, right?
It doesn't do anything as far as we know.
It doesn't do anything. It's just a mask.
Wasn't it with like a couple more masks or something like that?
There was a story to it.
Yeah,
but they didn't really go into depth in the story. But it could be just another side mission.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of them masks that let him turn into a full-grown man or something.
Yeah.
Nah, it's gonna be one that hides his presence after he gets strong.
Yeah, they're gonna be on some ninja stuff. With the ninja girl. And he just got a ninja blade.
And there she is.
Ninja girl.
She looks like Tsubaki.
Oh, is it morning? It's morning already. Wow.
Skip credits.
Actually, we're gonna pause here. We're gonna talk through this, and we probably won't get through the other episodes until we all talk through that one. But only reason I want to talk through this one before we end the podcast is because, and I don't know if you boys felt this. Did this feel like an episode to end the season?
No, because episode 12 is a
Not at
beast,
all.
and I think we should really watch it.
Okay, all right. Let's skip Crash, and then we'll continue on. I'm already at
Episode
Dojo.
12 literally sets the tone for next season, and I'm for it.
Okay, let's go. I'm all zeros.
Everybody's out
On your
zeros.
count.
3,
Yeah.
2, 1, go.
アドベンチャラーギルドキラスチ部へようこそ。
And then we can skip the intro.
Skip intro and
3, 2, 1, skip.
We'll go. All right. So is this the?
He's at the guild, getting ready to get tested for the guild now. Chief of the Adventurers Guild.
Okay, that's kind of weird. Like, do you say note?
Yep, NOTE.
Okay.
No, in the musical sense. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is like in the musical sense. Makes sense. So he's one of those.
Another side story though.
Why are we getting all these side plots?
this is more of a buddy quest.
We either know it's still a setup for next season though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I already said that his dragon had changed the appearance to look more like a cat.
Yeah.
We knew that was coming though.
Yeah, that one was kind of obvious.
Especially after Homeboy just tried to rob him.
Wait, how is he B class already without taking the exam?
Family name probably. Is this the dude that
Nah, this a
we
different
beat
dude.
up? Oh,
Nah, this is a different dude.
This is
thought
a
this
different
was
dude. That's
the
not the
elf
elf
dude
dude.
we beat up.
It looked like the elf dude. Oh no, it is.
No, You just recognizing that he's an elf, but he's not the same dude.
Wait. Why'd they give us flashbacks of the princess?
I believe they were just trying to show that he is an elf.
Oh, just showing he was an elf. Okay. There was no rhyme or reason for that.
At least we don't know what that rhyme or reason is yet.
Mm-hmm. Because when they showed the flashback, it was only scenes of the princess, not anybody else.
Right, which is, could be weird or could be
Mm-hmm.
coincidence.
What
So
was that?
he
He
lost
sure act
control.
like the other dude.
Mm-hmm.
お疲れ様でした。ワイフさん。マナの量と高度な指紋を使う能力に可能性を感じる。でも、この試験は無効だ。
試験はもう終わっている。にもかかわらず、不意打ちを仕掛けるのは論外だ。
それがあなたの最大の欠点よ。
It's funny. I love the fact they're doing it kind of like Harry Potter with the hat, but it's not the same where the hat's being snarky. She's just being more serious.
頑張って。
Man, that energy is dark. Whew.
君に関する情報は一つもない。何か特別な事情があって。
Ooh.
ここまで。下がって。
He gonna do it personally.
相手は私は。
Devil A class.
He said how strong he was.
魔術師が自ら幸せを支出すれば、利益を疑っているわけではありません。ただ、彼の保証人とは浅からぬ縁があるんです。構いませんね、ノート君。そうだ、そうだ。
But he's the best evaluator of talent. Surprisingly.
But he's Devil A class.
There's a trick here. There's something off.
She know it too.
おめでとうございます。本日より B クラスアドベンチャーに登録されました。
Wait, huh? I'm totally
That's trash,
confused.
bro.
I'm
That's trash.
あんなに出るなんて前代未聞です。
しかも全員が子供って。二人とも半年前にここ知らずで何が。三種族間で初めて若者たちの大会が行われたそうですか。それに伴いサフィン王国でエルフとドワーフは
Oh, okay.
解禁されました。
And druids.
あなたたちはエルフかドワーフだったってことですか。
Half elf.
ルーカス・ワイクスはサフィン在住で人間とエルフのハーフです。
So now y'all know he's not the same.
Yeah, nah, I'm just his demeanor.
ワイクスは昔から汚い手を使って魔術師を生ませているという噂があります。じゃあ、情報が全くなかった依頼じゃないと。どうして試験免除で B クラスに。ナイト君には彼の能力を請け負う保証人がいるんです。私には全く干渉できない人物のね。それは一体。ダルク王は
That's
ドワーフに
that's kind of weird.
人間の子供がいるそうです。まさかイライジャが人間に順応するためダルク王
Okay, that makes more sense.
として送られていた。そう推測しています。アドベンチャー登録解禁早々、こんなこと。見たこの先、どうなってしまう。そういえば、支部長が審査したあの仮面のオープンゲーム。彼については、ルーカス・イライジャ以上に情報がありません。
正直なところ、誰なのか全く見当がつかない。エルフやドワーフの代表ではないことは確かです。我が王国最強を誇る火の魔術師の一族、フレームスワーツが保証人になっていることも気になる。だから彼は火の魔術だ。いや、彼が本当にすごいのはその剣さばき。動きのぎこちなさは、体の成長が追いついていないゆえ。
Are we still playing on this?
Well, it's gotten better. It's not a slideshow, if we're going to ask that question.
You know what I'm saying? Like that. Oh, he's slow because he's a child. He's weak because he's a child. He's like, come on,
but
man.
he's not. Like, even he can't keep up. He can barely keep up with him.
Yeah.
No, he just told him don't be overconfident. No, he got a long way to go.
Right. But he's talking about, oh, I'm sure his moves were only sluggish because it's due to him still growing. Like, why say that? Like, that's pointless.
He's not even using the other sword.
Nope. Oh, yeah, he didn't have the other sword. He just has that one.
He has it, but he didn't use the sword he was practicing with. So imagine if he used the sword he used to.
Yeah, because he does have it with him. Okay.
He threw it out. Self the fire from the other thing, so. Oh, that's a side plot we're going to get back eventually. Another one.
Ooh.
What plate is that, Mendel?
And he just knocked it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Half boar, half. I don't know what that thing is.
Whatever it is, it's ugly as all get out.
It is ugly. It looks actually decent. I actually give him credit. Ugh. Ugh.
Oh, she cold.
That thing didn't do a thing to that thing.
This dude here,
It's colder.
you
All
gonna
right.
savor mid-flight, bruh?
Is his older self giving him advice?
That was weird.
This is kind of weird. I get what they're doing. If it's a thing where his like past self's giving advice for what he should be doing now,
That was
how- oh, perfect hit. Done. She didn't want to see him get hurt. All right. Gentlemen, we officially have our love interest.
It still could be more than one.
It could be more than one, but I think this is our main one.
or there could still be none at all.
That's also true. They could play with this. They've done it before.
That's
Ah,
why
okay.
her personality is different from the first time we met her to now.
Correct. All right. We kind of see where we're going for this.
See,
Huh?
there's two love interests. Ain't no way she just gonna be spying on him from out of nowhere.
Don't break that. He just walked in the room. Okay.
Told you, it sets the tone for the next season.
Okay. So we'll make this short and sweet because we could spend all night talking about these episodes. We're not talking about it more next week. But if we're setting a tone where the elf queen, elf princess, and him are going to go on adventures now, and they might cross paths again. But also, we're getting so many backstory plots. Are they trying to make the story different than what it's supposed to be? Because this first season seems like a lot of setup, and the setup's not really that. The setup was kind of lackluster at first, but got there at the end. I'm
Either
gonna
way,
ask.
go ahead.
I'm gonna ask this first of Deon. Deon, I need both of these. What do you think of episode 11 for a rating? So 1 out of 10. And what do you think of episode 12 for a rating?
If this was the first 2 episodes of the series, I would very, 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 very much be into watching the show. Since it's the last 2 episodes of the season, I'm kind of pissed. I mean, excuse me, I'm kind of upset.
Okay, fair.
Why do you give me the best episodes and show me that you can actually do it in the last 2 episodes? And it could be because we binged the last 2 episodes and I'm feeling this way.
Yeah.
But
Ladies and gentlemen, this was the negative effects of binging. The withdrawal.
Fair.
but it's like, if I would have binged this whole this whole season, I would have enjoyed it. I really would have. But the fact that I'm gonna wait episode by episode, it got really mundane very quickly. It became really lackluster and just seemed repetitive. Watching these last 2 episodes the way we did, it was repetitive as far as the story wise,
Story.
but because you watched them back to back, it gave consistency.
Okay. All right. So what would you rate them?
5.2 and 6.5
For the
All right.
episode in the season, just like that.
for
That's
each
both the
episode.
episode. That's
Yeah.
both the episodes.
And that
What would you?
last 6.5 is really, really based off of seeing the end credit clip.
Okay. What would you give the season overall?
Overall, 5.6.
Okay. All right. Fair. Chris, same questions to you. Do you kind of agree with Deon in the sense of the last 2 episodes were the best, or do you see another take on it?
Well, as far as I feel like they kind of got bullied into making those last few 3 to 4, 5, episodes really hit home, unlike the first 3 to 4 episodes that were like really lackluster and very slideshow-ish. So I did see the improvements, but so I feel like they got punked by the audience. But hey, that's what you're gonna do when you want to ensure people actually gonna like your episode. Because remember, they did cancel the second part of the season
Yep.
to come out for spring next year.
Correct.
Because so now it's to me to again adds more fidelity to it. Now, for how I personally feel out of those episodes, they were good. They were all right. I enjoyed the scenes, the story that they added to them in the last 2 episodes, including the one with the sword, all the little side quests and stuff that they added. So it was cool, but it was lackluster until the actual fight scenes, and it's like, ooh, okay, yeah, y'all are trying to come up. So I'm going to give episode 11 and 12 going to score them as a 6 and a 6.5.
Okay.
And then for the season, I'm just going to give it a solid 6.2.
Okay. That leaves me off then. It's funny. This show, story-wise, isn't just fun. some of the animation stuff they did in the first half wasn't great. The back half, the last 5-6 episodes were good, animation wise and storytelling wise. If they were going to continue on for 24 episodes, would the animation stay as high? Probably. But I think them taking a hiatus and actually working on it for next year, I think will help. Be able to side plot stories with other things we can talk about, so we're good. I don't know if this is one of those things where like you say, fans bullied the animation, the studio to not do the 24 episodes. It's funny, it doesn't get a lot of talk within the anime community because I think it's one of those ones that were more low end. So ultimately, I have to give episode 11 a 6, and I'll give episode 12 a 7. I think episode 12 was more interesting because it sets up a lot of stuff and sets up things like Elf Princess going to go out and do adventuring. He's still adventuring. What's her name? The assassin girl. He's going to build up his powers and things. We kind of see where he might go. As a season as a whole, I have to give it like a 6. It's right in the middle, above average, but not terrible. I think this is one of those shows where if you could watch it all the way through, like you can now, I think you'll understand the plot more. You can see where it's going. Watching week by week was kind of tedious, just because I think sometimes the plot didn't make sense, and some things that they tried to do didn't make sense. But ultimately, still worked. Am I looking forward to a season 2? Yeah, I'll see where it goes next year. Am I like clamoring for it? Probably not. But I think it's still a show that's worth its time. But we'll see what comes of it. We have the summer season coming up. We're going to finish out To Be Hero X next week. That's 11 and 12. And then we might continue that on through the summer alongside something else. We're going to pick that show as of next week through our little D&D style dice thing like we do all the time. So we're going to make a list, all that kind of stuff. Top 6 show, kind of see things. There's a lot of season 2s, a lot of like sequels coming out for this summer. So there's going to be a lot of kind of picking what we want to continue watching. But stay on this journey with us. The summer season is going to be interesting. It is very likely the summer season is probably going to be the strongest season of this year. But can it hold up the hype? Can it make that hype interesting? The spring ends on a good note, I think, for the most part for a lot of shows. But I think the spring was hyped, but overhyped at times. We'll see where the summer ends up. This will go up on Spotify after it processes, and will go up on YouTube on Thursday. I do thank Chris and Deon for joining me. I do thank you for watching. Hope you did enjoy, and hope for next time. See you.
Lucy.
That show was actually